Hello everyone, just Michael again. Just going to give me a quick, not quick, but my opinions on wrestling as a whole currently. Going from WWE to NXT to NXT UK to Ring of Honor, which I haven't really watched much of lately, but what I have has been interesting, to Impact Wrestling, to New Japan Pro Wrestling, to AEW. Uh, Starting off with MLW, it's very small indie promotion, and a lot of big people have came from there or are there now. Austin Aries is currently there. Brian Pillman Jr. was there. From AEW was there. I think Sammy Guevara was. I'm not entirely sure about him. They currently have one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet, in my opinion, Jacob Fatu. Basically, he looks a lot like Roman Reigns, smaller, fatter version of Roman Reigns, if you will. But the athleticism in him is on another level. Could put, if Vince's idea of Roman Reigns, what he sees in Roman Reigns, was Jacob Fatu, then Roman Reigns is brilliant. And Roman Reigns has improved drastically since turning heel, because when he was face, he was on mic, he was just bland. Since teaming with Paul Heyman, he's got a heck of a lot better. Uh, and I think for the best, because he was getting booed anyway. So, I mean, turn the guy heel. Should have done it years ago. It's boring as face. Like Randy Orton. Another one, when Randy Orton's a heel, he's on another level. He's absolutely incredible. Phenomenal talent. His moves, a natural born heel. Like, even when he's a face, his moveset is a heel. And as a heel, he's rather like Roman Reigns, a bit bland, to be honest. Anyway, that's the Roman Reigns part out of the way. Then we're going on to the Miz, currently the next day, the WWE champion. He won it on Sunday, just gone, at the Elimination Chamber. He was due to be in that match and he got pulled out, and then he cashed in at the end on Drew McIntyre, who retained after Bobby Lashley had sprayed Drew all over, and Miz did a move, went for a pin, and Drew kicked out. Then he the skull crushing finale, I think it's called, or final, and he got the pin. Now, a lot of people are absolutely outraged by this opinion that the Miz is champion. Personally, I find it amazing, because the guy, when he won the title originally in, I think it was 2011, we're in 2021 now, yeah. I'm sure it was 2011, maybe in 2010, but I'm sure it was 2011. Anyway, when he won it, everyone was like, mourning. And to be honest with you, I found his first title reign as WWE champion to be bad. Like, he got John Morrison in his corner, which improved a lot, but his mic skills were great, and he has one of the nicest looking DDTs in the business, and that's gone from everyone. There's four, I think, brilliant at that. There's Shane McMahon, there's The Rock with his spin around floating over DDT, and I'm not a big fan of The Rock. In The Miz, way kicks you and does DDT when you like bent down on your knees, and obviously Jake Snake Roberts, just another level of that move. Anyway, I think The Miz will have like a couple of months of a huge reign as champion. Can't see it happening. I don't think Lashley will win at Elimination Chamber, because basically the guy's not being built up very well at all. since coming back. Came back in 2017. Was on NXT for a bit and came to Raw, and since being on Raw, he's been a bit like not a jobber, but he's not done a lot. If that makes sense. And now he's in this huge stable with Herpes, with the Dark Order, because of the Brody Lee situation and Brody Lee's child getting involved in that. I mean, sorry. Yeah, he gave a good promo, granted, decent, like, but when you put him on like a show and it was his birthday and he flung like cake in someone's face, I can't even remember who, 'cause that show I was just not paying attention to. The Dark Order was solid when Brody Lee was alive and he was like the main part, but again, this is where AEW failed. Jon Moxley was champion, right? He won Jericho. Jericho was champion first. Then Jon Moxley won it. Then when Jon Moxley won it, he beat Archer. And then not long after, he beat Brody Lee. Now, to me, Brody Lee should have won it all day long. And he's why you've got a huge stable like Dark Order. And you've got one person, Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley retained. Nah, sorry, but Jon Moxley should have lost that. Brody Lee should have been champion. And like I told one of my friends in a wrestling chat that if Brody Lee was not champion last year, he'd never make champion in life. Now, I'm not saying I predicted what happened to him, but I'm just saying I don't think he was ever going to be a world champion. And it's quite bad because Brody Lee could talk on a mic. And for a big guy, he was absolutely, like, he was on another level in the ring. Umaga, Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brody Lee, Undertaker, Kane. They're like the top names up to me. Had loads of people say Andre the Giant. Personally, I was never a fan of Andre the Giant, even in the 1970s. Like, when he's just throwing people around and sitting on them. Even his drop kick wasn't exactly impressive. Like, Kane's done a drop kick, but like, it doesn't suit big guys drop kick. Drop kick should be little people to try and get the momentum off big people moving. Anyway, so when that happened in Dark Order, it was really bad. But going back to the hair business, MVP was just born to be a manager. Was good in the ring, and that's probably a lot down to the late great Chris Benoit. People hate. He'll always be remembered, in my opinion, as one of the best wrestlers of all time. I don't care what anyone says about what happened or what didn't happen or whatever. No one was actually there. So the only people who know was Chris, his son, his wife, and if there was someone there, whoever it was, that's just my opinion. It'll always stay the same. And then back up to the hair business. You've got Shelton Benjamin, one of the most gifted professional wrestling athletes in the entire world. And you've got Cedric Alexander, absolute great high flyer who can technical about anyone. And then you've got Bobby Lashley, and I think there's someone else, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, Bobby Lashley, since being in this group, is showing improvement, but please never give Bobby Lashley a microphone, because I'm going to call you an ambulance. Like, just made him sound ridiculous the way he said it. Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman should never have a microphone again. The boss needs someone talking on their behalf, like Brock Lesnar. Brock in ring, 2002, 2004, absolutely incredible. One of the best technical wrestlers going. And that's not a dig at anyone's, like, honest truth, in my opinion, anyway. When he came back in 2012, he's done very few moves. But when you name of his altitude, like as big as him, you don't really need to do like a million moves in a match. I mean, if anyone says Brock doesn't do many moves, right? Watch Rock in 2000. The Rock done like, what was it, 7 moves or something? Sharpshooter, float around DDT, rock bottom, people's elbow, swan drop, spine buster, suplex. I'm lost. I've got a 6, 7, and I'm lost. Can't think of any other moves he done. So if anyone thinks, leave a comment in the box below. Personally, I never found Brock to be that good in the ring. I'd put Brock way above him in Cena even. When Cena vs Styles, that was a match. Cena vs Owens, another match. Cena vs Shawn Michaels, never been a fan of Shawn Michaels, but that was a brilliant match. Cena vs Triple H, again, another good match. Cena Orton, Gabriel even, Cena take, Cena Chris Benoit, Cena Jericho, Cena Angle, list can go on. Rock, I can't think of that many people he had a good match with. He had one with Chris Jericho at Royal Rumble. I'm going to say 2002. He had a great ladder match with Triple H in 1998 at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental title, and that's one of my favourite matches ever. Like, that match I just found so good. It's one of my favourite matches, one of my top ladder matches. You know, ladder match, I love ladder matches. I don't like hardcore matches, if you will. Like a technical bout between, say, Ivan Dragunov, Elijah Dragunov even, and Walter, brilliant match. Devlin Walter, brilliant match. Then you've got the likes of, say, Terry Funk and Mick Foley in a hardcore match. I never liked matches like ECW. I did because there was a lot of technicality about ECW. You had Chris Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn. In a way, Rob Van Dam, because he does do quite a bit of technical wrestling. Lance Storm, one of the best. Then you had other people. And then you had the hardcore side of things with Raven, Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, one of the worst in-ring wrestlers ever. Seriously, ever. I'd put him in the bracket of Carly and Giant Gonzalez. Because both of them in-ring just lit. In Sandman, a big man who came along just like dominated people. It's probably what children see now in Brock Lesnar. But you can't tell a child to go back and watch like Goldberg when he was like a technical wizard, because he never was and never will be. But Brock was really good in the ring if you go back to 2002, 2004. And if them who had a real life fight, Brock would kill him. Simple as. Anyone who says Goldberg would win Brock in a real fight, just go back to watching Teletubbies, mate. It'd make more sense to you. You're just not on this planet. I'm going to move on to women. AEW, start off with the women in AEW. When it started, were used so bad. Not bad as such, but they weren't getting their time. We've got a tag team tournament in 2020. I think it was early on. That was a good tournament. and they should have made like a tag team women's belt to that. It'd have made sense. I'm not like a huge belt person. I don't think you need a million belts per brand, and per company needs like 100 belts and such. But it made sense if they had him, because they do have quite a stacked women's roster if they use them. And now they've gone like the year, and the next year they've started focusing more on the women. And that's good because they've got this Japanese American tournament thing going now. I think I'm not entirely sure because I just can't really. I'm pretty sure that the winner of that versus Shida for the title. Revolution, I think it is. And that should be decent. Whoever comes out of that should be a decent match, because Shida can work. And then on a WWE side of women's wrestling, you've got Raw, where they had a storyline with Lacey Evans, and she's pregnant to Ric Flair storyline, but real life she's pregnant to her husband. And she was in the feud with Charlotte Flair. Now, in this feud, I had a feeling that Lacey was going to go on and either win the title. She was going to lose because of interference from Charlotte Flair, which then would turn Asuka on Charlotte Flair, saying that she could have won the match without her help, blah, 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 which would then result in Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans versus Asuka for the title at WrestleMania. And I could see Lacey Evans going over and pinning Asuka in that match. But Lacey Evans, I don't think's that good in the ring. And when she's away, like, it'll hopefully, when she's away and pregnant, before she comes back, she'll have a bit more training and can go forward from there. Rhea Ripley's gone to Raw, and now I could really see Rhea being in the title picture at Fastlane, Charlotte costing her, and then the triple threat getting built from there. Now Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. Tell me that is another triple threat match and a half. And again, I could see Rhea Ripley pinning Asuka, because I can't really see Charlotte Flair taking no pin off anyone of them at WrestleMania. But I don't think she'll win, Charlotte Flair. So I'm giving Rhea the win if that match does happen. The Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks match, sorry, again, just my opinion, but Sasha Banks and Bayley had this massive, like 2020, where they were tag team champions and they both the main title of each brand, and they have one measly match. And basically, it's like when it was like watching AEW with that, because you'd built up this huge storyline, just have one match, and that was it. It was over. AEW do it all the time. Omega versus Jericho, then Jericho versus Hangman, and then Jericho versus Moxley, Moxley versus Archer, Moxley versus Brody, Moxley versus MJF, and all the matches are just like one, like build huge for ages. Look at Hangman Adam Page, and Kenny Omega were built as like a throwaway tag team, if you will, but were really good at it and became like a solid tag team. And then they split up. And then that's it, one match, and that was it, over. Anyway, going off topic a bit, but not much. So back to what I was saying with Sasha Banks and Bayley. Sasha should have kept the title, or Bayley should have kept the title. Even then, Bayley should have kept it at Hell in a Cell. And sorry, but Sasha should have won Royal Rumble. Sasha should have won the title, and then Bayley won the Rumble, or Bayley should have won kept the title, and Banks won the Rumble, and then Banks goes to WrestleMania against Bayley, because them two just teared it down in NXT. They put women's wrestling on the map in WWE. And when Trish later and all them were there, it was decent. You got like maybe 8-minute match a week. Trish barking like a dog, bra and panties matches, mud wrestling. It was just another time. Stupid with some of the stuff for them, but they did have the occasional decent match, and China was on another level with her like huge strength. It's been good to see Awesome Kong at WrestleMania, but sadly she passed away. But yeah, WWE I think failed big time there, letting Bianca win the Rumble. I'm sorry, I don't like Bianca, but you haven't built her that long. She's changed from NXT, went to Raw for a bit, did nothing in Raw whatsoever, then gets drafted to SmackDown, does very little in SmackDown, then starts winning these big matches, and all of a sudden she wins Rumble. Really? Okay. So, go back to October, you have Otis win about 5 matches, then all of a sudden he wins Royal Rumble. And now we've got Otis first Roman Reigns, or Otis first Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. People would lose their mind. But Bianca Belair didn't do it. Like, stupid. Should have built it far more than they did. Now, NXT women, wow, where do I start? Amazing. You've got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell as a tag team, and 2 very, very talented women. And they're in a little mini stable with Johnny Gargano, one of the best wrestlers on the planet at the moment. Austin Theory, one of the most underrated wrestlers on the planet at the moment. And you've got this little group, the 4 of them, called The Way. Then you've got Dakota Kai and I cannot remember her name. That's going to annoy me. As a tag team. And then there's another load of tag teams. Now, this is what should have happened a long time ago. The tag team titles of women across brands, so it should be Raw, SmackDown, NXT, but it's very, very rarely defended on NXT. I think it's been defended twice next week. SmackDown's not defending that often. In the most priority, Raw gets. No, it should be split. Not saying do Raw, SmackDown, NXT each week, but split it so you've got maybe a storyline going on Raw, and then on Raw maybe have a tag team come out from NXT and get involved, and then have like after the Raw matches ended, then NXT Raw start a little like tag team feud sort of thing, or SmackDown NXT, SmackDown Raw, and hopefully when like travel can happen again, COVID's lifted, probably about 2024, 2023, I guess. I'm just saying. Anyway, when that's lifted, you could have NXT UK on, and that'd be brilliant as well. And you've got Indy Hartwell, who I think is Australian, with Tony Storm, and you could give him like the Aussies Down Under or something as a tag team name. Then on to the tag team titles. Raw, there's nothing there. Hair Business, Alexander and Shelton, really good tag team. But there's no like decent tag team from face. I mean, you've got Retribution, but let's face it, Retribution's failed from the time it started because you've put them all in masks basically to be like a rip-off of Dark Order in a way. And it's just failed badly. So you've got Dominik Dijakovic in this like Bane mask. And Dominik is one of the best wrestlers. For a big guy, he can wrestle. I mean, just go and watch PWG and watch Keith Lee versus Dijakovic, or watch him in Rev Pro Wrestling or Progress or wherever. He's so good. The matches with Keith Lee have been brilliant now. What was the tag teams have you got? Jeff Hardy and Riddle, possibly. It sounds great, but they did nothing. And then you've got John Morrison and Miz, but Miz is no champion, so I doubt he'll go in. I could actually see the Bad Bunny even, and Priest become tag team champions, and then verse John Morrison and Miz at WrestleMania. I'm hoping Miz keeps the title. Now go on SmackDown brand, you've got the Usos there, but one of them's injured. So Jey Uso's in the main title picture now. It's a shame you can't just flip it and bring back Jimmy Uso so they're back together and take out Matt Jackson, give him the injury of Jimmy Uso and give Nick Jackson the title matches in AEW what Jay's had in WWE, because Nick Jackson's on another level and Jimmy Uso's not there at all, and neither is Matt Jackson or Jey Uso even, but Nick is on another level. But there's no strong tag teams in Raw or SmackDown for the men. I mean, you've got Dolph and Robert Roode again. That's not going to last that long. Dolph's known for splitting up tag teams, so it's Roode. Street Profit. Again, solid tag team. Personally, I find them better than Private Party, because Street Profits do moves where Private Party just do flips. Move on to Impact Wrestling. In Impact Wrestling, they lost one of the biggest tag teams they've had in recent years. Recently, MSK now in NXT as a tag team. They were called the Rascals in Impact, and very good tag in Impact. Chris Sabin and James Storm, XXL or something, Triple XL, 4 Arms XL, something like that anyway. And then you've got other tag teams here and there. Now it's just a matter of time till Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, and aka Matt Cardona. And what's his name? Brian Myers, who was in WWE as cannot remember the name. Kurt Hawkins. And again, them who could become a tag team, and then you could split one of them and turn on the other one, and then you've got like the Impact World title. You've got Eddie Edwards, who's 2-time champion, absolutely phenomenal talent. nowhere near as good as what Davy Richards was, in my opinion. And hopefully Davy Richards returns one day, because that bloke's just wow. In that ring, he can just do stuff what people can dream of. And then there's Rich Swann, who's the champion. Rich Swann in WWE. I don't think he'd done very much. I think it was Cruiserweight champion once. There was nothing real big about him. But he's a really good talent. So, and he can talk, and he's funny, and he can draw like a reaction from fans. WWE, he'd never, ever, ever in a million years the main gag.